Basically what we've been undertaking is a series of investigative strip removals to some of the fabric of the building. There's very little documentary evidence which actually identifies how the building was put together on paper. So therefore what we've undertaken is a series of small biopsies, if you like, or investigative strips of removal of the building's fabric from elements such as the watchtower, which you can see behind me, through to the inner fort, which was constructed in the 1980s, through to the palace. This is evaluated that within the historic watchtower, whilst there are layers of render that have been built over the top of the coral stone, we still have quite a lot of that original coral stone material, which is extremely valuable for future generations to understand how their forefathers built vernacular constructions on the island of Abu Dhabi as far back as its 1761 origins. The inner fort construction, as we identify, has been constructed with concrete, which is obviously a post-oil vernacular. These materials obviously came around as a result of the discovery and the searching for oil in the 50s through to the 1980s, where we can see the construction of the inner fort as it is today for future generations to understand the representation of the original fort as we can see in the 1904 historic photographs of that original structure. It's necessary to remove the outer layer in parts of the building, not all of the building, because of the fact that where it's coral stone, the coral stone needs to breathe. The intelligent material of coral stone is very porous and it would absorb the heat from the sun, keeping the room and the building inside the fort cool. Now in the 1980s, a cementitious layer of render has been put over the top of the coral stone, therefore not allowing it to release that heat in the evenings. Therefore there's a moisture layer that's being formed on the facade of the building, which we are removing to allow the coral to work as it originally did. In the conservation process, what we're doing at the moment is, as I say, identifying how the building was put together and what those materials are and what are the compatible ways of restoring those materials so that they can be enjoyed for future generations. We're documenting all this evidence, and then we're finding policies which will guide our approach to conserve the building. These policies will identify elements of the building which are of a lesser value, not completely invaluable, but of a lesser value, and elements which are highly significant and must be fully restored for us to appreciate in the future.